Welcome to What You Need to Grow, the podcast where entrepreneurs discover the inspiration and perspective shifts that fuel both personal and business growth. Each week, certified professional coach Jennie Bellinger brings you powerful conversations with thought leaders, subject matter experts, and innovative company leaders who share their stories of growth and the tools that made it possible. From fresh insights that expand your vision to resources you can explore on your own journey, every episode is designed to help you grow your knowledge, grow your vision, and grow your business. Now, here's your host, Jennie Bellinger.
Welcome to another episode of What You Need to Grow. I am your host, Jennie Bellinger, here to help you figure out what you need to grow, because on this show, we talk about the intersection between personal growth and business growth. And my guest today is Cecil McIntosh, and he was raised in Barbados by his grandmother and the village elders. Wisdom wasn't a slogan, it was lived. You learned steadiness, timing, and how to hold life without forcing it. After immigrating to Canada at 20, Cecil built a successful sales career, and like many high performers, he learned to push outcomes into existence. Then life interrupted hard. Divorce and bankruptcy in the same week. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to talk about this. In a short window, what seemed secure disappeared, including the identity built on, I can handle it. Well, we're going to dig into more of this, but now Cecil has devoted the next 30 years to mastering relaxation, presence, and emotional recalibration, logging 15,000 hours or more teaching hours and working with thousands of clients. Over this time, he's developed a 60-second shift, a method to identify the root of a challenge in under 3 minutes and guide a real shift in 60 seconds or less without force. So, Cecil, I could keep talking about you all day long, but let's just get into the conversation. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jennie. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, I am so glad you're here because you and I have been in quite a few Zoom rooms together over the past couple of years, between Tom Matson's Strategic Alliance and I think Virginia's rooms and lots of rooms that we've been together in. And when you and I got put into a breakout room, I was like, oh, that's what he does. Okay, we got to talk and get him on the show. So your introduction talks about this very high performance sales life that you had, and then divorce and bankruptcy in the same week.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, tell us more about that.
Well, I'm from Barbados originally, and I was
Uh-huh.
raised with my grandma in the village. And we live a very simple life. My grandma was my business teacher and my spiritual teacher. And we did the basic things, you know. She was a very successful businesswoman, and there was no rushing, there was nothing, you know, nice and peaceful. I lived like that. And then my parents were in England. Family came to Canada, so we can be together. And when I came to Canada, I saw the bright lights of North America. And I'm at university, and I'm like, my grandma didn't go to no university. She don't know anything.
Oh no.
And I disk everything that she in the village taught me. And I went after that money. I chased that money relentlessly. Like I had blinkers on. I didn't see anything else, because another reason is people say I was president of Business Student Society at Ryerson, and the president and President Ryerson said to me, "You are successful. What are you going to do when you graduate?" I said, "I'm going to get a job in sales." And 2 white men said, "But you're black. They're going to hire you, pay you less, and fire you." Now, I was a little pissed, but it was true. They were trying to protect me.
Mm.
And I went out and blazed the trail. But just as an aside, when they said that to me, I was in a down mood. And I heard my grandma's voice says, you can do anything you want to do. That's how powerful it was. So anyhow, I went out, blazed the trail, and in so doing, I ignored everything. My wife, my children I didn't ignore, but my wife I ignored. My personal life I ignored. And I went divorced and bankrupt the same week because I made a bad investment. I bought real estate at the wrong time. I lost everything, family, home, everything. And however, to me, it was the most cleansing for me because my our relationship was not the best. She was
Mhm.
not. We weren't a good fit for each other. So
Gotcha.
we went our separate ways, and everybody said, "But how are you doing?" I says, "I'm fine." They said, "You can't be fine. You kind of suppressing." I said, "No, a whole load has been lifted off of me,
Mm.
right? Because what had happened is, well, not knowing is the load is lifted off because that's not the way I'm supposed to be living.
All righty then.
I was supposed to be living the way my grandma taught me, but I ignored it. So then I had a chronic lower back pain because that was as a consequence of being stressful.
Yeah.
And this little voice said, "You diss your grandma. You won't listen to your grandma. You say she didn't go to no university. Now you have back pain. Open your home every Monday evening at 6 o'clock. Teach what you know. And in 24 hours, your back pain will disappear." I said, "Deal." I opened my home, and 30 years later, the journey I've been on has been 30 years. And it's that moment is what caused me to be on a journey. But the other interesting thing about that journey is I discovered that I actually was the prodigal son. I was in
Oh,
Barbados. I left Barbados. I came to Canada. The only difference is I came, I didn't run away. And now
right.
because I dissed my grandma, all the things she taught me is what I was teaching in those 30 years.
Mm.
Everything she taught me. Yes, I'm a certified master practitioner at NLP. I'm being trained by the best in the world, right? But foundationally, that's what I am. So that's what happened. I went full circle back to my lineage, back to my roots. So
Yeah.
the thing about it is now that so what I'm teaching now is how what I'm teaching you right now is how my grandma lived at that time. So it's like,
Mm.
we had no lights, we had no computer, we had nothing of that. But I'm teaching you that it's that's how you can live. So
Yeah.
I went full circle, and that's where I am right now.
Oh, I love that because it's so interesting that something so profound as what would probably at least temporarily break most people, getting divorced or bankruptcy, but then having it in the same week and you actually went, "Oh no, now the worst has happened. I've lived," right? That it didn't break you and in fact um took you back to that simpler time.
Yeah.
So now for 30 years you've been teaching this. Do you still open your home every Monday night, or have you turned this more into more of an online version of teachings?
It's more of an online version of teachings, but as I did some work I work in the hospitals. I worked with over 2,000 heart, stroke, and cancer patients, teaching relaxation by the bedside,
Oh,
right? I spent 15,000 hours teaching relaxation, like in the Long Park Library. So all these things happen because that's the way my grandma lived. My grandma said, "You go share what you have, you share." So that's all I did.
mm. Oh, I love that. So what would you say are the top three things that you learned from your grandmother, from grandma, that is now something that you very regularly pass on in conversations with your clients?
There is no black and white, pink and green. We're just one. And I say
Mm.
that because if you pass by my grandma's house and she's cooking and you stop by, she didn't, as they say, she did not put you in the pot, but she took you out. And you would get the same serving as everybody else.
Oh,
Right? That's one thing I learned from her. The other thing I learned from her that was so profound was community. I was home one day and people, the 11 parishes in Barbados, and people came and they dropped things off beside the house. And I'm like, who are these people? And most of them knew me. Or we know where you were born. I'm like, okay. So my grandmother came and she says, who dropped that off? I said, donkey cart, bus, bicycle, walking. I told them exactly where they, she told me exactly where they're from. They're from each parish there was in Barbados. My grandma knew everybody. So know how we have we have a community in an area. She had the Barbados was her community. She was connected to everybody. And because she used to dig potatoes, dig potatoes and yams from the ground, she could never suffer because whatever was in season is what she reaped.
Hmm.
So that's what she taught me, that community is very important. It's very important that you connect with people, build relationships with people, and share what you have with people. That's why when I started to teach, it was natural for me to go teach. Because that's what she did. That's what I saw her do. And let me see. And the third thing was she said to me, Cecil, never crave what anybody else have. Because you do not know where they got it from. And not be afraid of anybody, because guess what? They put on their pants the same way you do.
Very true.
Yeah. So
Very true. Oh, I love that. And those are, you know, so seemingly simple. And yet when you put them all together, they really do help create because, I will say, when I started in business, I started in the world of network marketing. And so I had this really large team around me, not under me initially, but I had people around me. My sponsor was very prolific and she was very good at creating that community. And then, so I learned from her and started doing the same and created this large team, large community. And then when I went into coaching, I left that community. I mean, some of them are still friends, but I wasn't part of those, weekly or monthly
yeah.
trainings and meetings and all of that. And I remember thinking to myself, "Oh my gosh, this entrepreneur thing isn't as fun as it was when I was with the group, right?"
Yep.
So
Yep.
that community piece really became a very important learning for me when I went into the coaching world was, okay, how am I going to create this community? Because, you know, just a couple of years later, the world shut down,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so then, but luckily I had been building a community of people online and locally. And so I already had this community that I could reach out to and have Zoom conversations with and Zoom coffees and meetings and whatever during that time when everything was closed down because I had built that community. So
Yep.
I definitely find that piece very important because entrepreneurship, if you're not careful, can be very, very lonely.
Mm-hmm.
How have you now built community um, with your business and what you're doing now? How have you now created that around you?
Well, this means it's been up and down and cross it. When I first met my wife, I says, if you don't keep up with me, my dear, I'm going to lose you. So she says, I'm going nowhere. So Jenny, what has happened is I have made so many shifts and so many changes. Right? What I was teaching made sense, and then it went to another level.
Hmm.
I went to another level. And then I shifted from the audience I was dealing with to another, totally another audience. And it was shifting, 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 shifting all the time.
Hmm.
So I ended up with a very small community, right? Because it just happened.
Yeah.
But the thing about me was because of living in Barbados in the village, I had that inner strength,
Mm.
right? And I wasn't phased by what happened. I wasn't phased. It's just what it is, right? So I never got caught up. Like if you what like for example, when I was in sales and we were top sales, you get all the drinks and everything else because the sales is what drove the company. So they give us whatever we wanted. And everybody's eating and drinking and this. And I'm like, sister, what do you want? I don't want anything. I was content.
Mm.
But that's what I learned. It's like your everything is about inside, not the outside. So when you operate from that inside perspective, Doesn't really matter what's going on outside.
Mm.
And that's the part that I want, because my mission is to make inner stillness a repeatable skill so that the leaders of the next generation would succeed without force.
Ooh. Oh, I just felt some people connect with that. Oh. Okay, say that again. So your mission is
To make inner stillness a repeatable skill
okay.
so that the leaders of the next generation will succeed without force.
Ooh. Okay. So let's talk about the inner peace part there, right? Because I think given what's going on in the world for the past quite a few years, not just the past couple of years, but the past few years, starting when the world shut down. So there were a lot of people who freaked out around that, which I got to say, growing up a military brat, I was like, okay, I mean, I don't know what's coming, but very used to changing in very short period of time.
Yep.
Um, so not to say it didn't impact me, but starting around that time, I think since then there have been a lot of things where people are um no longer connected to that inner part, that inner peace. So how do you start making that connection to work on that inner stillness in order to now make it a habit, make it a repeatable skill?
Well, let me give you an example. We were in Barbados, and as I said, my parents were in England,
Hmm.
right? And my parents sent us, my brother, my sister, and I, 3 packages. Went to the post office. These 3 packages are heavy. We're like, what the heck is this? We get back home, we open them. There's these 3 heavy things. Like they were coats at the time. We didn't know it was a coat. These heavy coats. We stand up in the bed and lift them up, and they're heavy. And we're saying, my mom and dad, they got things in the ears. They're crazy. It's like, this is Barbados. What the heck is this heavy stuff all about, right? My mom came home from England, and we carrying on about this kind of stuff, and she kept her. "Mm." We came here in February, and when we came in and the plane landed, my mom says, "Hey, see that white stuff there? That's snow. Put the damn coats on and stop cussing me." Right?
Okay.
So
Uh-huh.
that was the first thing. The second thing was, I didn't like the cold then. I don't like the cold now. So I decided I want to go to university to get a business education. I decided I have a choice: go back to Barbados or stay here. But I ain't staying. I can't stay here. I'm not like the cold.
Hmm.
So how do I make myself adjust to the cold where the cold doesn't bother me?
Mm.
So a little voice. I always operate from the inner. Everything came to speak. And he said, "Okay, do a meditation. Go pretend you're on the beach, and you see the sea over here, and the sand, and the coconut trees over here, and the sky, and the warmth, and create a whole little image. And they're a nice little place, and the music in the background. Just create this nice little thing here, right? And then you hold that." So when I get dressed now, I'm in that state. So I remember my mom, my daughter, my wife went out one day. She says, "Hun, what's it like outside?" She's, "Oh, forget about you. You're down with Barbados. You don't know what it's like." So I when it was in sales, the same thing. It'd be definitely cold. You can actually cut the cold. And I'm in the elevator, everybody's complaining about the cold. I'm like, I'm in Barbados. I can't say anything.
Yep.
So I've always found a way to be wherever I am. Like the other thing too, but since you're black, you can't make it in sales. And the salesman comes in, Cecil, you're black. I say, yeah. You don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't give a hoot about anybody else. You don't go to the cottage. But when the managers are shifting around, everybody likes you. I'm white. I do all those things, and they don't give a shit about me. What do you do? I said, I'm black. He says, no, Cecil, tell me the truth. All I did is what my grandma said. Respect everybody.
Mm,
We were making more money than the sales managers. That don't mean you have to disrespect them.
right.
That's what I did. So if a manager had a problem and he needed something for his boss upstairs, and I'm in Barry and they're in Toronto, I will leave Barry, come back down, give it to him, and go back up. I was the only person that he know would do it because the other sales people didn't give a damn.
Mm,
But I knew a sales manager had a responsibility and well, help him out.
yeah.
That's the way I function.
I love that. So what stood out for me in that was the listening to the inner voice. Because I have found in my own life that when I pay attention to what that voice is telling me, it guides me properly. It's when I go, stop, 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 stop. No, I don't want to hear what you're saying, inner voice. Like, stop, stop. That's when things go wrong.
Yes, yes.
you know.
It's magical because I want to say this so that the audience can get a simple example.
Hmm.
I went to the store and my printer, I was having a problem with my printer, and the guy at the store is my buddy. He says, Cecil, if you have a problem with that printer, you come see me. So I'm waiting for him, right? He's busy. We developed a nice relationship. He's busy. And this gentleman comes along and says, excuse me, can I tell you something about computers? And I dissed him. I just brushed him off.
Mm.
And in a few seconds, the voice says, no, you go find him. You ask him what he wants to tell you, and whatever he's telling you, put in your phone. That was my message. So, excuse me, my apologies. My apologies. I was in another world. Now, would you please tell me what you want to share with me? Jenny, he explained to me all about the new computers. At the time, my computer was like 10 years old. He explained to me everything about computers.
Hmm.
Everything down my thing, right? I go back home now, and 10 days later, my wife is about to pay the bills online. She said, Cecil, this effing thing ain't working. I said, what do you mean? It's not working. I said, oh, sorry. See you later. Up to the store, took out my phone. I said, I want a computer. And they tell me all kinds of I said, hold on, hold it. Can you read quietly? Tell me what's here. This is what I want.
Hmm.
I want to show you that because I listened. What they were selling me was $500. The computer I needed was $1,500. I would have spent 500 and everything be all messed up. The computer had everything on I needed on. So that's a simple example of when you actually listen, how you save yourself a lot of grief.
Mm. I love that. No, absolutely. One of the first times I remember getting that inner voice was in my teenage years. And we had moved from one location to another. And obviously, growing up military, I had moved a lot in my life. So it wasn't unusual, but I was in, that teenage phase of life where we're very friend centric. And I was very upset when we moved to the new place because I had just made some really great friends right before we left. And here I was all sad and upset and depressed. And, for like the first 3 weeks we were here, I was moping and just hanging out in my room and just mad at my parents and mad at the Air Force and mad at all the things. And I remember this little voice going, you're the only one sitting here getting all pissy. You're the one dealing with all of this blah. No one like your parents are living their mom and dad are living their lives. All your sisters and brother, they're making new friends and you're sitting down here moping. What are you going to do about it?
Yep.
And I went, "Oh, you're right. Okay." So we were a week or two from starting school. So I made a commitment to myself because at my last school, I had been this really shy, quiet girl who, was the very studious kid, and I was like, I'm okay. I still want to get good grades, but I'm going to make more friends this time. So my commitment that I made to myself based on what that little voice told me saying, what are you going to do about it? Was I'm going to talk to one new person in every class at high school. And we had 7 classes a day. So I made 7 new friends every day for the first week. So I met 35
Yep.
new people because my rule for myself was one new person.
Hmm.
So
Beautiful.
at the end of the 5 days, I had talked to everyone sitting around me in every class saying, "Hi, I'm Jenny. Who are you? Hi, I'm Jenny. Who are you? What's your name?" And just started making all these friends. And I ended up making friends and who were in the band and who were in the choir and who were theater kids. And I talked to some athletes who I had never been friends with at my last high school. But I had friends now, or at least people who I knew and who knew me, and we were kind of friendly. And I knew them in like all different areas of the school.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And and it all came from that little voice that was like, "Girl, stop your moping," you know? So, so with all of this, Cecil, you mentioned earlier that you have also been trained in NLP. So I know there's probably some people here listening right now who are probably heard you and go, "What's NLP? What's that?" So can you give us a little? I'm aware of what it is, but give the listener your take on NLP and how it helps.
NLP is neuro linguistic programming.
Hmm.
And basically, what it does in a nutshell, it teaches you to be able to communicate with people. For example, let's assume that we have the three frequencies we have.
Hmm.
Some of us see, some people hear, some people feel.
Yeah.
So, for example, the situation where this lady, two sisters, they went to this house. And when they left, one sister said, "Did you see the carpets, the beautiful carpets and the paintings on the walls and the colors?" Yes, sister, what are you talking about? I ain't seen none of that. "Did you hear the music? Did you hear the different beats of the music and the rhythms of the music? Did you get to do that?" No. The point I'm making is that most of us operate on one frequency, dominant. What NLP teaches you is to be more aware. And the awareness means that you need to be able to take things in from all different frequencies. So
Mm.
NLP is a communication, a way for you to communicate with people. As a matter of fact, I was blessed to be trained by Dr. Wyatt Woodswall. He actually taught the FBI and the CIA how to communicate, right? So this is a communication skill. When you talk to people, for example, some of us speak. You say, if I'm talking to you and you're talking quickly, I will match what you're doing. Some people speak slowly. I will match what you do. So it's a matter of you got to step back and be aware of what everybody's doing in order to communicate with them, find out how they're doing it, be with them so that you can, there's that connection. So in a sense, the and it's all about the mind, how the mind works. It's how all the mind works. And there are a number of things that you can do to be in that place. Right? You can stay in that place, something called an anchor, where you can set yourself up. As a matter of fact, I worked with as an assistant coach with some young ladies, a soccer coach, and my job was to teach them how to taught them a skill. Then you get knocked down on that soccer field, no crying. Get your butt back up. I give them some of the fingers. Bring your fingers together. Go get the ball back. Oh, we will watch them. They get knocked down and they fly. They fly. Get the ball back and boom. This is so. I was out one day and it was like 20 years later, and this young lady, I remember vividly at a fish and chips place. I said, "Mr. McIntosh," I said, "I gotta tell you something." I said, "What happened?" This is 28 years now. I've been still using that skill. I said, "Wow."
Wow.
So it's a way of being, put it simply, it's being more aware and being able to communicate with everybody around in a simple way, being able to communicate with everybody around you. And if you're writing, how to write, how to know how to say in a way that they will get it, how to break the barriers of the way they're thinking, how to get through all that. For example, I can say to you, I'll give you an example is, "You're damn fool," is what can be said. You might say that, right? And you would get pushback on that, right?
Okay.
Now I'm gonna say the same thing now using NLP. I'm wondering why you're a damn fool, right? I'm saying the same thing, but I know how to couch it, how to soften it.
Yeah.
So I can cuss you with softeners.
Right. Well, and of course, one of the things that I know enough about NLP to be dangerous. I haven't been
Mm-hmm.
fully trained in it, but I know
Uh-huh.
enough to be dangerous because my
Mm-hmm.
my degree is in psychology, so I remember being introduced to it in my psychology classes because it is an applied form of psychology,
Yep.
right? So it's and then I got trained on it when I became a coach and learning to use some of the basics in NLP really was transformational for me in that when I got because the gal who ran my coaching program used NLP very regularly with us with our permission to help us go through
Yeah,
our
yeah,
own
yeah.
transformations, right? And I remember coming out of the coaching process and having learned all this and feeling like a butterfly who hadn't realized that she was a caterpillar before
Yep.
and looking around going, where's all the other butterflies? you know? Uh, Oh, I need I need to find the caterpillars who want to be butterflies
Yep.
and work with them,
Yep.
right? And so for me, that's where that was really transformational getting those beginning pieces for NLP to understand how to move myself forward, but then also work with my clients at a base level to get them to reframe the way they're talking about something or thinking about something or behaving around something. And so it's been huge, and I still continue to study it and read books or articles or talk with people about it. So I'm glad that you're here to speak to this. So,
So
oh my,
this one thing after that,
uh
I'm a master practitioner of NLP. So I was at another level. So when I
yeah,
finished, here my teacher. Now I taught you what you need to know. Go create your own stuff. Take it up to another level.
yeah.
So that's she challenged me. She says, go in the corner and do what your grandma said and teach.
Love that. Love that because, and I think, we alluded to it in your introduction in how you help people shift quickly. Does that come from some of that neurolinguistic training then?
Interesting question. Here's what's fascinating about my journey.
Uh-huh.
I get results, amazing results. People, as a matter of fact, people say you can't do that. But I got documentation, right?
Yeah.
So what happened was when I was in sales, I had to sell. I was a black man. If I didn't sell, they got rid of me. So I was always about how quick can I do it. I was about to challenge myself on anything. So when I started out, I would have, as a matter of fact, I had a gentleman join when everything crashed. We he had a court case. I said, let's go to court because it was $130,000 bond. He's a seven-figure client. $130,000 bond in the court because they made a mistake. And I said, go to court. I would never go to court again. So then after the economy shifted, he's in Australia. I'm in Canada. He phones me and says, Cecil, I have a problem. I'm in court. What do you do? He says, you know the $130,000 bond I have? I say, yeah. They're asking for $1 million. I said, okay, no problem. But he listened to his first thought. He called me right away. I said, go back into the court and do the Jenkins dilemma. The dilemma takes about 20 or 30 minutes, depends on the person.
Hmm.
So that was one of the techniques I have. So I went from the things I'm teaching, I went from 30 minutes to 10 minutes to 5 minutes to 3 minutes teaching the heart, stroke, and cancer patient in the hospital to 60 seconds. The same thing I was doing then, I'm doing the 60 seconds.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. So, to let everybody know, you are offering the opportunity for people to experience a 60-second shift. So, before we wrap things up, we'll let everybody know that you can get the link to Cecil's 60-second shift. It's in the show notes, okay, or in the gift vault. So if you go to whatyouneedtogrow.com, click on the gift vault at the top of the page, and you can get the link right there by signing in and getting into that 60-second shift if you would like to experience what it's like to do that. So that is so super cool. But before we wrap up, I want to ask you another question because we've been talking a lot about personal transformation here, because this show is about the intersection of personal growth and business growth. So we've been doing a lot of the personal side, which also can influence the business side. But one of the questions I like to ask our personal growth experts is, what is a business growth thing that you did, whether it was a program you participated in, a book you read, a coach you work with? What's something you're really glad you did on the business side that has helped you move forward, not business and or personally? What is the business program or business thing that you are most glad that you did?
I'm so happy you asked that question because we make life so difficult.
Yeah.
Inner stillness is inner stillness.
Yep.
Business or personal is irrelevant. It just is.
Hmm.
So if you are operating from inner stillness, there's no business and there's no personal.
Mm.
See what? Okay, I've had people come to me and there are one guy, remember, he was in sales. He was a insurance salesman, remember very distinctly. And he wanted his wife to sign a paper so if he passed on, she would get what I don't know what it was. And his wife was perfect for him 99.9%. And he wanted to get a divorce because she wouldn't do what he asked her to do. Right?
Hmm.
And I said to him, no. And I don't fight. I fought with him. Jenny got a call from him 1 year later. And he told me, thank you very much. I said, you're a salesperson and you cannot apply the sales to your wife. Well, I says, I have time for that. I said, uh-huh, uh-huh. No, she's your wife.
Yeah.
So he broke it up. I said, she's personal. This is business. So I can't use that in this context. So what I'm saying is inner stillness is inner stillness. It
Yeah.
applies to everything. So when you understand that, there's nothing that you can say is a problem.
Mm.
As a matter of fact, there's no separation of anything. Everything applies. What I teach you is everything is integrated, right? As I said, there's no black and white, pink and green. What I'm saying, it applies to everything in your life. So
Hmm.
this is where people miss the boat and they get very successful in sales, and then they come home, but they can't bring the tools over
Yeah.
to the personal. And the poor wife or the poor husband is suffering because there's no communication. But the person is top in sales.
Yeah.
They don't understand how to bring it over. So that's one of the things I do is I show you quickly. I say, you don't have a problem. You know what to do, but you're too pig-headed to apply it. I don't mess around I don't when I'm working. I don't mess around. You're too pig-headed to apply. Now here's what you got to do. Do you have a problem with that? No. Well, you go home and practice it, and come back and or call me and tell me what's going on, and they go home and they fix it.
Yeah.
But it's lack of awareness. They're not aware that they can do it, or not aware that it
Right.
applies, and they're looking for all these different things to apply. So for me, everything is very simple. That's what my
Yeah.
grandma taught me.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That is so very, very true that when you can learn to take one skill from one area of life and find a way to apply it in other areas, it obviously double, triple, quadruples the value of what it was that you just learned, right? Which is so important because I mean, I also used to be in sales. I sold jewelry for 7 years. And I would often have ladies who'd come to me and go, I don't know how to sell. And I'm like, I bet you do. right? You get your kids to eat their broccoli, don't you? You get your kids to do their homework, don't you? That's selling. You're just not getting money for it, but you're influencing them to do the thing that they need to do. And that's all sales is. Sales is influential, is influence, it is service. It's just an exchange, right? So being able to make that switch is and that application from one skill to another is so important. So I'm
Let me add
so glad you brought that up.
let me add some of that as well as as an example. I always like to give an example, right?
Sure.
Um, the same seven-figure, he's my best client I've ever had.
Yeah.
He I forgot what he did now. What did he do? I just drew a blank on him. Oh, he came to me and he says to me, Cecil, do you have any idea how much money your clients make collectively? I said, what are you talking about? He asked me some numbers. So Jenny, he goes away with these numbers. He comes back and he says to me, Cecil McIntosh. I say, yes. Your clients have collectively made $100 million. That wasn't what threw me. He paused. I teach to pause. So when he paused, I know something's up.
Mm-hmm.
Without talking or thinking about making money. That blew my mind. Because what I do, as you know, about NLP is I clean up here.
Yeah.
We don't talk about anything else. I don't care what problem you bring to me. Boom, I clean up here, clean up here. Clean. So that's what he said.
Yeah.
There's no discussion about anything. He said, one of the last thing about him is he came to me when he first started. He said, Cecil, I pay you for an hour, right? And I want an hour. Because the first time he came, I only gave him 20 minutes because I knew so if I give him more than 20 minutes. He said, Cecil, let me tell you something. I pay you money, serious money. I want my hour. I took a deep breath and I said, okay. He came back and I gave him his hour. I gave him a good hour.
Mm-hmm.
He was sick for 2 weeks.
Oh my.
Because when I work with you, I work at a cellular level and I think things happen really, really fast. So I can ease it back. He comes in and says, Cecil, let me tell you something. When I come to see you, remember this. When the clock hits 20 minutes, cut the call. He said, I don't want any more of you.
20
He
minutes
says,
is enough.
he said, I can have 20 minutes. He says, I can take the other 40 minutes and go make back the money to pay you.
Mm.
So that's what it's all about is, yeah.
That's so brilliant. I love that.
Uh,
Oh my gosh. Well, I could continue talking to you forever, Cecil. I love the brilliance that you're bringing here. And I think we're probably going to have to bring you back again in the future to talk some more next level sales and inner stillness and everything. But of course, I want to remind the What You Need to Grow community that you do have your gift, the free 60-second shift that is available in the gift vault, or they can just click down in the show notes and grab that link so that way they can jump in there and grab and get that 60-second shift with you if they're interested. But you've also agreed to do a special private training in the What You Need to Grow podcast community on Facebook. So we're going to wrap up here and then we're going to hit record and you're going to do a special training to help people in your area of expertise get a transformational shift in a very short period of time. So right now, What You Need to Grow community, if you would like to see how Cecil helps people make those shifts in a very short period of time, he's going to be doing a special private training in our Facebook group. So of course, the Facebook group is listed down below. So go jump in the group. It's a free community to come in and see what Cecil and many of our other What You Need to Grow guests have offered special private trainings in there as well. So Cecil McIntosh, thank you so much for being on What You Need to Grow. It has been such a pleasure to get to know you better.
Thank you, Jenny, and I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And of course, What You Need to Grow listener, stay tuned because you never know what you need to grow.
Thank you for listening to What You Need to Grow. Be sure to follow the show on your favorite podcast platform or subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss a single episode. Want updates straight to your inbox? Sign up at whatyouneedtogrow.com and you'll get notified each time a new episode goes live. Here's to your growth. This has been What You Need to Grow with Jennie Bellinger.